fear is such a strong emotion that it disables you. It disables your critical, the way you can, your critical thinking. You can't think straight. When you're afraid and when you're petrified, it stops you from asking the questions. And all you want to do is you just want to feel safe. And that's what people did. They literally looked at their government, because the government, obviously the slogan was, we're keep safe. We're, we're doing all this to keep you safe. So the public lapped that up because they wanted to feel safe, because this was a novel virus, and again, they inflated the infection fatality rate as if like you're going to get COVID and then you will die. When actually, if you look at John Ioannidis, do you know Professor John Ioannidis?
Yes, of course. Yes, on the cruise, the Crystal Serenity.
Right. So he is a Stanford professor, and he came out with a paper, I think in the early days in 2020,
right at the beginning.
He calculated the infection fatality rate, and it's like I think if you're under 70, it's 0.05%. Like, that's how low it is. And that, that was suppressed. That was completely ignored. So people literally thought, if I catch COVID, I will die. It's like, it's awful. And yes, it is a very contagious virus. It is highly transmissible. We know that. But they completely ignored natural immunity, that when you do get it, you get the antibodies and, you can fight against it. And the antibodies last a long time. Your immune system remembers. It's like you have T cells. Then, obviously I'm not an immunologist. I'm just an investigative journalist. So I don't claim to be a scientist, but I do absorb information, and I find it fascinating. The human body is fascinating. So it's sort of, people were fed lies. They were afraid. They died in their homes. Lockdowns kill. I absolutely fall into that camp where I believe lockdowns do kill. You've got, even the Telegraph wrote an article in 2020 where they said that non-COVID deaths, an estimate of 200,000 people's lives were lost in lockdown. Because they didn't get the treatment they needed. They were missing. They didn't get the diagnosis. They were refused treatment. I mean, people, they couldn't get their surgery, the cancer treatments, it all shut down because the NHS was just purely open for COVID, and it was horrendous how people suffered. And then you've got, you've got all the fallout, the collateral damage of children have been, it's catastrophic. The fact that they closed schools. I mean, shocking. They closed the schools,
and also, that they force children to wear masks, so they can't communicate, they can't read facial expressions, that they've been conditioned. We've presuming that any of us survive or the horror show that's coming, we've created several generations worth probably of future damage of children who cannot function normally. And of course, this was always part of the plan.